Tonight is a brand new episode of WWE Friday Night SmackDown on the USA Network, emanating from Greenville, South Carolina. And as we get closer and closer to WWE Survivor Series and the men's and women's War Games matches, could Paul Triple H Levesque and his WWE creative team have some major surprises up their sleeve? We're going to discuss 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight live on WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And tonight, it's a brand new episode of WWE Friday Night SmackDown from the Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville, South Carolina. Of course, in the United States, the show is airing on USA Network in its regular time slot, whereas around the world, it's streaming live internationally on Netflix. And as we get closer to WWE Survivor Series at the end of this month from San Diego, California, could Paul Triple H Levesque and the WWE creative team have some major surprises planned up their sleeve that have potential Survivor Series or possibly even further ramifications? We're going to get into 5 possible major surprises that could happen tonight on SmackDown, beginning with Ilya Dragunov. The open challenge for the WWE United States Championship will be continuing. Indeed, yes, Dragunov will be defending his United States Championship. It's a, tradition that has been carried on through not only Sami Zayn, but also now through Dragunov himself. Ilya Dragunov has 2 successful title defenses under his belt, and the Mad Dragon is out to make it 3 in a row when he issues another Men's United States Championship Open Challenge in Greenville this evening. If Dragunov's matches over the last few weeks against the likes of Aleister Black and Nathan Fraser are any indication or anything to go by, whomever it is that steps up to face the WWE superstar will need to bring their A game if they hope to leave with the men's WWE United States Championship. Now, given the fact that he only won the championship a couple of weeks ago, I don't expect Dragunov to drop the title just yet, even though when it comes to the United States Championship, I actually thought that Sami Zayn would hold the title a little bit longer than he actually did. So I guess the issue is when it comes to these open challenges, you never know if you're going to be defending the championship every single week on the program. It becomes a point where eventually you've got to lose it, don't you? And I guess WWE want to have that air of spontaneity. They'll want to have that idea that actually, when you issue an open challenge, you're not just going to retain the title every week. Anything can possibly happen. So yeah, you could have a champion that only holds the title maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Given the fact that Dragunov is still a name that WWE are looking to establish on the main roster, you have to remember when he was called up to the main roster, he didn't have that long of a period of time before he had the injury that kept him out for around a year. So WWE is still looking to establish him. He has also just come back from that lengthy injury. So to have him win the championship and then drop it so soon after would raise quite a few red flags, as if something's happening here that isn't meant to happen, unless it was part of a wider angle. Let's say, for instance, Sami Zayn answers the open challenge this evening and he has to cheat to win to get his title back. That could be a story that WWE does indeed decide to tell, but I don't think it's the time just yet. Maybe you would have a Sami Zayn go after the championship one more time, lose again, and then maybe has to cheat to win or something along those lines. Perhaps that could be a direction that they go in. But as far as the challenger this evening, look, it could be anyone. It could be an NXT superstar. It could be someone that's a, Greenville native, or it could be someone possibly that he's faced already. I mean, someone like Aleister Black challenged for the United States Championship when Sami Zayn was the champion. He answered the open challenge. So if this is anything to go by, maybe it could be someone that answered the Sami Zayn Open Challenge but wasn't victorious. Maybe it could be someone from NXT. Maybe it could be someone from Raw. You never know. That's the whole point, the selling point of these open challenges. But I think when it comes to Dragunov, don't think he drops the United States Championship just yet. And before we move on to the next number on this countdown list, a reminder, this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our great affiliates. That includes NordVPN. Now, I mentioned early on that, of course, SmackDown tonight is airing on USA Network in the United States, but around the world, and most international markets, it's streaming live on Netflix. Now, you might be saying in the United States, That's a good deal. You get to watch all of your WWE content via one Netflix subscription. Meanwhile, over here, stateside, we've got to have Netflix for Raw. We've got to have USA Network for SmackDown. We've got to have the CW for NXT. We've got to have ESPN for PLEs, including Survivor Series that comes up. We've got to have Peacock for Saturday night's main event next month for John Cena's final match. It's just a bit too much. It's costing me too much money. Well, what if I told you, my fellow USA watchers here, that you can watch all of your WWE content via one Netflix subscription? All you have to do is get a VPN, change your location to an international territory like here in the UK, then you can watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, WWE main roster PLEs, NXT PLEs, all via your Netflix subscription, and you can watch Saturday night's main event for free on YouTube, including John Cena's retirement match next month. Use our NordVPN link. You can scan that QR code. You can use our custom link. That's nordvpn.com/WN365. That's nordvpn.com/WN365. You can get up to 77% off, plus 3 months extra. You're saving yourself some money, and you're supporting this channel in the process. Your support is much appreciated. Back to the countdown list, and speaking of United States Championship matches, we've not just got an open challenge on the men's side of things, we've actually got a women's United States Championship match as well, in the fact that Julia will be defending her Women's United States Championship against Chelsea Green, of course, the first ever Women's United States Champion. Chelsea Green has long prided herself on being the first ever and longest reigning Women's United States Champion in WWE history. But then the beautiful madness arrived. Now, the leader of the Green regime is looking to become the first ever two-time Women's United States Champion when she faces off against Julia tonight on SmackDown. Now, this is one where you do feel like it could go either way. I know that WWE is trying to push Julia and really elevate her. Obviously, she's had decent matches. They've had the pairing with Kiana James, which I do think is actually working quite well. But it always goes back to Chelsea Green. She's always involved. She's still super over. I wasn't personally a fan of her dropping the championship to Zelina Vega in what was, I guess, in retrospect, maybe a bit of a transitional title reign. I don't know how far they plan these things out. Sometimes it's long-term, sometimes it's not. But I wasn't a fan of Green dropping the championship to Zelina Vega because I felt that there was more for her to do. Since then, she continues to be one of the most popular acts on the WWE roster. Since then, she has won more gold. Recently, at a AAA event, she won the AAA Mixed Tag Team titles alongside Ethan Page. And there have been these reports and rumors that WWE may be considering moving the Green and Page act together to the main roster. So far, it was exclusively to NXT. Then it's branched out to AAA. Of course, we know there's an upcoming match between Green and Ethan Page and Thea Hale and also Joe Hendry. It's happening in sort of the NXT side of things. But I think this could be a situation where maybe Green does win the championship. She's got 2 titles, and they call up Ethan Page as well. Maybe this is kind of the back door to getting Ethan Page onto the main roster. Now, granted, you still could have, because Chelsea Green does also lose a lot of matches, Julia could easily defeat her this evening. But given the popularity that's still there for Chelsea Green, given the fact that she now is sort of crossing over onto all WWE affiliated properties, right? She's obviously on the main roster on SmackDown. She's now on NXT as part of this partnership with Ethan Page, and she's in AAA as part of the partnership with Ethan Page as well. So she could carry with her the Women's United States Championship and actually then do kind of a similar gimmick to what Ethan Page is doing in NXT. Remember, Ethan Page is the current NXT North American champion, and he's doing the whole, it's a Canadian championship and really, hyping up the Canadian aspect of things. Who's to say that Chelsea Green doesn't do the exact same thing on SmackDown? Wins the Women's United States Championship, then kind of rechristens it the Women's Canadian Championship or makes a custom title. Then Green and Page both have kind of the same mid-card title that they've transformed into a Canadian version of it. They're the mixed tag team champions in AAA, and they can kind of go everywhere together. Now, Green might be in a bit of hot water with WWE because she shared the GoFundMe for Ridge Holland amid his financial issues after his WWE firing, the injury, etc. But then she deleted it, which has led to a lot of people talking on social media. Was she told to delete that tweet? What's going on? So who even knows? But I could see a scenario where Green, Page, both have the same sort of Canadian gimmick with a mid-card title, both AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions, and then they're across so many different brands that WWE, of course, owns. Next up, you have Charlotte Flair, of course, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions, going up against Nia Jax. These two have a little bit of history, don't they? Infamously, on an episode of Raw, what year was it? I think it was 2021. You guys will correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. But on an episode of Raw in 2021, it turned into a bit of a shoot, it looked like. It looked like maybe Nia Jax was maybe a bit too stiff with Flair, or Flair wasn't happy about that, so Flair decided to, I guess, try and turn it into a bit of a shoot. And frankly, it looked like Nia Jax just beat the hell out of her, because Nia Jax is always going to have the size advantage. But when it comes to the storyline aspect of things here, everyone needs a little help from a friend every now and then, at least. Alexa Bliss certainly got that last week in her match against the dominant force. Charlotte Flair's presence on the ring apron provided Bliss with the window she needed to knock Jax off the top rope and score a high-stat pinfall victory over the former women's champion. Nia will attempt to get even when she faces the Queen tonight. Charlotte Flair doesn't really do that many jobs, does she? Now, occasionally she has. I think it was it Piper Niven earlier on this year when Piper Niven, amid a lot of, interference and stuff like that, got a really shocking pinfall victory over Charlotte Flair. So it's not to say she never does it, but Charlotte Flair, I just can't see her doing the job unless there was some kind of outside interference, which I guess is a possibility. Nia Jax has this, the relationship with Candice LeRae. She previously had one with Tiffany Stratton. She previously had one with Alexa Bliss. So it's certainly not impossible that Jax could have some kind of backup, whether it is Candice LeRae or whether it is someone else maybe we haven't thought about just yet, that maybe evens the playing field in the eyes of Jax, and that leads to a Women's Tag Team Championship opportunity. When it comes to Bliss and Flair, I think it does very well in the sense of it keeps Charlotte Flair out of the women's world title picture, which I think everyone has wanted for years. This feels like the most popular, or organically popular maybe, that Charlotte Flair has been on the main roster as a babyface, just because she's out of that spotlight, but she's still involved with the tag titles. But it just feels, again, a bit more organic, a lot less forced. So I think they'll want to continue this for a while, but the tag team title reign and division is only as good as the tag teams that you have in it, and they need teams to go up against. So don't be shocked if you see a Nia Jax tag team partner, whether it's Candice LeRae or someone else, but I still think Charlotte Flair probably wins. But then you have the booking dilemma of what does Nia Jax have to do to earn a tag title shot if she's lost twice individually to the tag champions, right? So maybe there could be outside interference. We'll see how that one plays out this evening. Next up, you have Tala Tonga in in-ring action, of course, representing the MFTs as he goes up against Rey Fenix. Talk about a bit of a physical mismatch. You've got Tala Tonga, or Tola Tonga, it's a good pun, isn't it, against the masked luchador, maybe a little bit smaller, a high flyer against someone that's raw power. They say styles make fights, of course. The MFTs have put the entire locker room on notice, and they are back to completely take over. That's what they're saying anyway. They have their sights set on capturing all the gold that SmackDown has to offer, and they aren't afraid to impose their will on anyone who gets in their way. Enter Rey Fenix. Of course, he's found himself in the crosshairs of the MFTs, but not only is he refusing to back down, he's taking the fight to Tala Tonga. Now, I feel like Tala Tonga will probably get the victory here. WWE does indeed love their monsters, and I don't think it hurts Rey Fenix too much. When it comes to Rey Fenix, of course, it's been a really interesting situation, isn't it? An interesting situation for him because, of course, he had this fledgling tag team going on with Andrade in WWE, but then of course Andrade left WWE shortly after SummerSlam and then appeared in AEW and hasn't appeared again, and there's all this confusion about where he can actually appear and if he's under a non-compete clause for 1 year. Since then, he's accepted Sami Zayn's open challenge for the United States Championship. You could say, oh, maybe he'll face Ilya Dragunov, but he's in action already. So it remains to be seen if Rey Fenix is going to get a new tag team partner, if we'll see the YX6 come to the aid of him. I could see a scenario where maybe Tala Tonga wins, or the MFTs just get involved in general and the YX6 come out and we continue to build to that kind of faction warfare, even though it doesn't look like it's going to be in a War Games match, even though that was kind of speculated on previously. So maybe we see who and what Rey Fenix is going to be doing next. It certainly does feel like, though, doesn't it, that if you compare the booking of the two brothers since they arrived in WWE, Penta certainly feels like someone that WWE is much more invested in, and they're booking him more strong. It felt like initially with Rey Fenix, that's what they were going to do, and particularly with, the association sort of Rey Mysterio, and he subbed in for Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. But in recent months, maybe it just hasn't really gone the way that he maybe thought it would. But I'm going to predict a Talatonga win here, or some kind of thing where the Wyatt Six come out, get involved. And finally, the WWE champion, the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, is going to be talking tonight on SmackDown. He has advertised for the show. And really, you ask, what's next for Cody Rhodes, right? The American Nightmare successfully defeated Drew McIntyre at Saturday night's main event to retain his title, albeit in controversial fashion, with, maybe using nefarious means, and whether or not that's fair, but seemingly he's ready to face a new challenge. The question is whether the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre is ready to be moving on after being screwed over once again. That's the big question here, isn't it, when it comes to McIntyre? I think given the finish to their match at Saturday night's main event, maybe there's an argument to be made by McIntyre would want another rematch. Whether or not there's a real desire for that, I think remains to be seen. For me, I think we could see a scenario where Cody's kind of shoehorned into a War Game scenario over on Raw. I know that you could say, well, he's the champion of SmackDown. The brand split, is it even a thing? WWE decides when they want it to be one or not. So I think we could maybe see a scenario whereby Cody's teaming up with maybe CM Punk and maybe Roman Reigns and maybe LA Knight and maybe Jey Uso. And that's the War Games match. And as much as you would say, but Cody's got nothing to do with that, sometimes that doesn't matter. When it comes to Cody Rhodes, if WWE wants him to be front and center, they'll make him front and center. Now, the question then would be, well, what does that mean for Drew McIntyre? So I suppose you could continue this feud on. It had been long reported that McIntyre was moved to SmackDown in the first place way back when to feud with Cody Rhodes, and it didn't happen for a couple of different reasons. So maybe they're trying to get as much longevity out of this as they can, and maybe McIntyre will finally win the WWE Championship, and that's when the Randy Orton heel turn will happen. Maybe at Survivor Series, 2 years after Orton returned after his long hiatus to be Cody Rhodes, one of Cody Rhodes' partners in a War Games match. Perhaps that's the direction that will go. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll know for certain more what's happening with the American Nightmare once SmackDown is concluded this evening. So there you go, guys. There are 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight live on WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see right there, we're less than 170 subscribers to go until 25,000. That was our goal in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Get involved in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are, what your opinions are, what your hot takes are, what your predictions are for tonight's SmackDown. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.